I found out that someone was extremely lonely, so I went looking for strangers, brought them back home, and turned them into my family. First, I soak them in sulfuric acid, then rinse off the residue with clean water. I boil them in a pot until they're cooked through, and arrange them on the table in the correct positions. After that, I reassemble them and dress them in the clothes I've prepared, and just like that, a new family member is complete.
Hey, everybody! Look who's here!
Grandpa!
Well, come on and give him a hug!
These are all the family members I've made. They all live in my imagination. Whenever I'm missing a family member, I'll make that family member. For example, one day I felt like my family was missing a grandmother figure, so I went to the supermarket and picked out an elderly person living alone as my target. I followed her home and struck up a conversation by pretending to be an insurance salesman. I offered to help the old woman carry her things.
No, I can manage.
Are you sure? They look awfully heavy.
Well, if you're sure it's no bother.
No bother at all. If you don't mind hanging out in my briefcase. It's very light.
It's a deal.
This is my usual routine, simple but very effective. Using this method, I've already obtained 3 family members. I followed the old woman inside, and after putting down her things, I looked around. Once I confirmed there were no witnesses, I locked the door from the inside and took care of the old woman. The next day, I followed my usual routine to make a new family member. Everything was going smoothly. However, just as I was moving on to the next step, there was suddenly a knock at the door. It was my new neighbor Celia, inviting me to dinner that evening and apologizing for hitting my mailbox the night before. I was really enjoying talking with Celia, but perhaps because we talked for too long, my imaginary wife started urging me to come home.
Who's at the door? Is that her?
My wife sensed that I wanted to make a move on Celia. I told her I had no such thoughts about Celia. But the truth is, I had already developed certain special feelings for Celia. At dinner time, I acted completely normal because Celia's husband was there. I learned that Celia once had a daughter who died young from cancer. Using my sixth sense, I concluded that Celia's marriage wasn't happy. After dinner ended, I didn't go straight home. Instead, I snuck around to the backyard to spy. When I saw Celia and her husband arguing intensely, it confirmed my earlier suspicion. After returning home, my imaginary wife got jealous. I was about to lay hands on my wife in anger, but my imaginary little daughter appeared and stopped the conflict from erupting. At that moment, I imagined my daughter wanting an older sister, and a new family member appearing meant I had to go find another victim. The next day, I went to a school entrance looking for a target. I had my eye on an introverted girl. However, just as I was about to make my move, something unexpected happened. An unforeseen car accident forced me to suspend my plans. I went to the hospital to treat my wounds and ended up running into Celia's husband. Even more coincidentally, he turned out to be an ER doctor at the hospital. With this acquaintance connection, I went straight to the front of the line into the examination room. While treating my wound, through our conversation I learned that Celia and her husband's relationship had fallen apart. This made me feel I absolutely had to make my move. It's just that Celia's husband was really in the way. If only he could just vanish into thin air. The next morning while I was watering my flowers, I suddenly noticed a police car in front of Celia's door. I knocked to visit and learned that Celia's husband had mysteriously disappeared the night before. Upon hearing this, I stepped forward and put my arm around Celia's shoulder. Celia didn't resist me either. Seeing her pitiful appearance, I made up my mind to turn her into my new wife. But before that, I still needed to take care of my imaginary wife first. After returning to my own home, I walked straight toward my wife, picked her up, and carried her to the basement.
And I are meant for each other.
She'll never love you.
After killing my wife, I felt completely relieved. I was fully immersed in the fantasy of possessing Celia. Using the excuse of comforting Celia, I invited her to come to my house for dinner tonight. To make a good impression, I cooked myself. I trimmed flowers like a florist and even put on a tie before leaving. Finally, I arranged my 3 family members in the bedroom, planning to give Celia a surprise. During dinner, I quietly watched Celia, but in my imagination, Celia had already become a promiscuous woman.
I want you inside me right now, right here, on this table.
I invited Celia to tour the rooms, preparing to introduce her to my family. Celia froze in place, terrified by the scene before her. I took the opportunity to wrap my hands around her neck.